there, Karen here with my buddy Whiskey Sour. Hope everything's going well with you guys. All's cool here. Just keeping very busy and getting ready for this NAMM show, which is this weekend. Very excited about that. This has been a long time coming. I can't even express to you how long it's been. Maybe 3 years preparation. It's for our app for the iPad that we are launching this year. And we've had it on other platforms. The desktop and the iPad are going to have the Jam It app, which is where you can play along with the original master tapes of your favorite songs. And the reason it's taken so long is because it's taken us years to get the rights to these old reels and to be able to separate the tracks of songs that you love, old Alice Cooper tracks or Deep Purple tracks or whatever, separate them so you guys can hear the individual tracks, play along with them, learn from scrolling sheet music, all that stuff. So it's just been it's been a long time, just lawyers and legal stuff and all that kind of stuff to be able to have these rights, and you have to get publishers' rights and the artist rights and labels and all. It's a crazy thing, and then you got to track down some of these old reels and stuff too. So it's been quite a process, and it's coming to fruition. So everything's really excited, and a lot of people excited about it. It's just really good. So that's what I'm doing over here, and that's just getting ready for that. So it's very exciting. I wrote a blog today. Talk about me not responding well to emails and staying really busy. I wrote an email called "When Your Crush Is Not Reciprocated." I guess it's happened enough times to me now that I can discuss this topic, and I've alluded to it or touched on it directly in the past. But I have online friends who now and then will send me a very harsh, and harsh is the best way to describe it, message, followed up by either blocking or deleting me. I'm usually left in a state of wow, just no idea what happened there. And I'm just left in this state of confusion, and that's it. The human imagination is pretty powerful. I love it that it can lift a plane off the ground or send people into orbit. I also love that it can write a song or paint a picture that was never there before. I love that it can make us laugh and giggle and have a really good time. The human mind, however, does have the tendency to create falsehoods that aren't even real, based on what I would call a colorful imagination. For many years online, I've been pretty clear about my intent without trying to be assuming with everybody else's intent. I'm not going to come out and just go, say to some person who's emailed me just before words even come out of their mouth, I'm like, I'm not here for dating, It just seems kind of presumptuous, and they might be like, I didn't want to date you anyway. But right in my bios on everything I've ever been on, any social networking site I've ever been on for years now, I do say things like I'm only online for friendship, or I'm only interested in friendship, or I love you guys but keep it pro. So I feel like I've kind of done my part to spell out my intent, and I am online for friendship, and I am online for community. But some people are really cool and will just need that one sentence clarification from me to clear up why I'm online, and then others react according to a movie that has obviously been playing out in their head this whole time. There's some very delusional people, deluded people. And the way I look at it is, if you imagine that you're watching 10 minutes of a film, and then you leave to go run some errands, you go to the store or whatever, and you go live your life, and then you return to catch the paramount part of the film, where one line in the film makes it all come together. You needed to have seen the whole film. You might have even needed to see the prequels and sequels and all that kind of stuff all in succession for one line in the movie to make sense to you. You would feel like you missed everything if you didn't see it all. Well, some people will play a whole movie out in their heads, vivid imagination or some serious illness, about relationships that they are developing, and the character that they just inserted into their imagination doesn't even get to be let in on what they're thinking. They just give them the first line of the movie and the last line that they're supposed to deliver, and that's pretty much how I feel right now with some of these people that email me. They just kind of, I'll get these just one sentence things that I'm totally lost, that I don't know how else to say it. The kind of confusing message happens to me when I'm going about my daily work life and all the crazy stuff that's going on, and then I'll just go and check my email, and this last line of the film that they got playing out in their head, that I know nothing about, is there, staring at me. And all other topics aside for a minute, if you really want to annoy me, if you're like, oh, I can't stand Karen Stever, I'm going to totally go and annoy that woman, just send me a random line and don't let me know what you're talking about. Now, I'm sure now I'm going to get an inbox full of emails from people just trying to be funny, and that's whatever. I expect that when you say something like that, I expect that to happen. I'll probably be confused and ignore you. But the whole thing is I'm probably not going to spend too much time investigating. I'll probably just ask you what it means, and then I just will move on, because I hate mind games. Like, I think they're stupid, they're silly, they're childish, and it's like, come on, get a life, what are you doing all day long, is kind of how I feel about it. But I would say probably 80% of these messages are from people who are delusional. But then there's 20% who really did truly think that I was following some thought process or some previous thought process that they were on. And I'm not going to say I don't miss a lot, because I do. Gosh, I miss so much. But when constructing an email, I think it's smart to give some kind of just a brief synopsis or a background of what we chatted about before. So for instance, if you just send me an email and it says 2 o'clock Wednesday, and that's all it says. That's the title of it, and then it's a blank email. There's a good chance I will respond with, what? Communication skills have become so poor, though, that people will email me back and say things like, don't act like you don't know, or, where were you? And these little sarcastic things, or, thanks a lot, Karen, I thought you cared. I've got really extreme stuff like that. As if I have time in my life, extra time, to act like I just don't know what's going on. If I don't know, I don't know. If I say I don't know what's going on. You could say something like, hey Karen, that cool TV show, the Puppies that I was telling you about, that's going to air 2 o'clock on Wednesday. That'd be great. That'd be perfect email. Okay, I'll give you a sincere thank you with that. And I'll thank you for sharing with me. I love puppies. And then, it's a clear email. So that makes sense to me. But what happens, though, is that people will become immediately offended that I didn't recall our conversation about puppies, which, if it's a conversation about puppies, it's really unlikely that I'm going to forget that conversation. Come on, it's puppies. But I'm just using that as an example. I noticed that many of these kinds of reactions come from people who don't really have as much going on in their lives. And, they might just have a few friends on their Facebook friends list or something. And if I had 4 people on my Facebook friends list, I'm not going to even say that again, I think it would be a bit easier to remember each and every interaction I had with people. But even then, people don't assume just because somebody's got a few friends on their list that they don't have an extraordinarily busy life outside of that. There's people online who, they have a couple friends they talk to online, and then they're going crazy in their lives outside of that as well. So, the reason I believe people become offended, though, is because they feel like their conversation was worthless, or that they feel like they were worthless. And this is what I want to nip in the bud. If I didn't remember having a conversation with you, or I sincerely don't know what you're talking about, don't take it as I'm thinking you're worthless or that our conversations are worthless. That's just actually my inability to remember everything that takes place in a day. It's not a reflection of how I feel towards any of you, that's for sure. And the more extreme case I will sometimes experience is when somebody who's on my friend list thinks we're going to develop a relationship past the kind of community relationship that I keep saying I'm only interested in. That's where they write this movie in their head. And some of them are pretty interesting. If they had some high hopes about us becoming romantic, or even just something simple like, best buddies going out for coffee, and I don't play out the film the way that their script already read in their imagination of how that was going to go, there's a good chance I'm going to be reprimanded based on something completely imagined. I hate that. Oh, it's so annoying. It's not a good feeling when you have a crush on someone and they don't feel the same way. I think we've all been through this. Oh my gosh. I've had so many crushes in my life where, that person felt nothing towards me, and it's an awful feeling. I'm mostly concerned that people are just taking it too personally, as though they did everything they could to be my new best friend or something, or a romantic partner and then they failed. This is not a failure. This is not even that kind of situation. I have no intent to date online. I have no intent to go hang out with anyone. So my intentions are what is causing these boundaries, not something a person who has a crush is doing or not doing. In other words, it's not you, it's me. I generally tell people I'm too messed up and you wouldn't want to hang out with me anyway, that I'm a nightmare. The best kinds of friendships and romantic relationships happen when they just happen naturally, just all by themselves, without that, you know, little extra push. And I would never want to be involved in something that I had to chase down or if I had to force it. So why would anyone else want to do that? Like, do you really want that kind of relationship with anyone out there? I think that would lead to disaster if you have to push someone to love you or push someone to be your friend or, you know, guilt them after the fact or, you know, give them a lesson or a teaching to. I believe that if a crush is not reciprocated, it's not necessarily because you are not doing everything you can to be attractive to somebody. I think there's a million other possibilities out there inhibiting that kind of relationship, and they just simply might not be a good match, or it's just maybe not what's meant for you, or whatever. It's just, you know, there's so many reasons. And I also believe it's better to really look at relationships realistically and not play out some potential scenario that you got going on in your head. I wouldn't suggest you imagine yourself married to someone, for instance, on the first day that they say hello to you. That might not play out how you want it to go. Wouldn't life just be more fun if we just wake up in the morning and we just see what happens? Just go with the flow a little bit. I suspect that these types of people can't stand waiting until Christmas morning to open up their gifts. It's like that kind of personality. And some people don't like life's little mysteries. I, on the other hand, love them. I am really in a discovery mode where every day I wake up and it's just like, what's going to happen today? Who am I going to run into today? What's going to happen? And I just let it go that way. And I do like life's little mysteries, but some people need everything kind of planned out, and they need to kind of control how it's going to go. And you know, it's hard to have conversations with people who are delusional and who do imagine scenarios that just aren't there and just aren't true, and it's difficult. But maybe our imaginations could switch over. You know me, I have to end it on a positive note, right? Maybe our imaginations could switch over to actually writing screenplays instead of just keeping it all in our heads swimming around. And there's a Peter Davison quote that I ended with today where he says, "If poets were realistic, they wouldn't be poets." So if you really do have a vivid imagination, why don't you write a screenplay about it or go write a book? You know, put it into some creativity instead of setting yourself up for consistent disappointments. Just an idea over here from the peanut gallery. And like I said, I'm a nightmare. You don't want to be my friend anyway. So I thought I'd share that with you guys today, and I hope that if you do have a crush on someone, or you really desire a relationship with somebody specific, and if it's not reciprocated, maybe that's for a reason. And maybe there's somebody else out there. Maybe there's somewhere else you're meant to be. Maybe there's another path for you. And it shouldn't be taken personally. I've been rejected and had that feeling of being rejected. Oh my gosh, so many times. And no, it doesn't feel good. And it's hard to not take it personally. But it's for me over here, it's nothing personal. If you send me a random email where I have no clue what you're saying to me, don't take it personally. I just get a lot of email, and I just got a lot going on. That's all. That's all it is. Okay. So you'll hear me say this every once in a while. Just keep everybody on track. Nobody flip out. So I will chat with you guys again tomorrow. And I love chatting with you and hearing from you, of course. But until next time, from Whiskey Sour and me, go out there and rock on.